Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I have not hid the fact that Jesse the Common Nerd is very much a DC fanboy. I went from cautious optimism to absolute optimism when I saw the Superman trailer. I really liked it. It gave me hope. It looked like really good, and I'm really excited for the movie when it comes out here in July of next year. But ladies, depending on when you're watching this video, but boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we've hearing a lot of rumors, a lot of conflicting information about whether or not the early test screenings have actually been good or bad from this kind of situation out there. We've got a couple of different scoopers out there going back and forth on things out there, but it looks like the honest truth is the only viable sources that we've actually got that have been right in the past are saying that the test screenings aren't great from what they hear internally over there at Warner Brothers, and the comicbookmovie.com article out there saying that the test screenings were absolutely fantastic. Looks to be completely and totally made up BS. So what's the truth, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's probably going to end up being somewhere in the middle, but we're going to cover both of this little information, give you some ideas of what's going on over here. What Snyder has said over there on his lovely little podcast over there. Our dear sweet, what do we got here? Yeah, Jeff Snyder. Wasn't it Jeff Snyder? Isn't that his name? Yeah, Jeff Snyder over there. We're going to check out Jeff Snyder's little scoop, what he's heard about this kind of stuff, and whether or not fans should be worried about this whole situation. At the end of the day, though, all of this is strictly just rumor mill kind of stuff out there. So obviously, as always, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, don't hold your breath on any of this kind of stuff as to whether or not, don't let it sway you either way, because at the end of the day, it's one of them situations where we're not entirely sure what's the truth and what's not, but we will all end up finding out. So this is what we're going to get into today, boys and girls. We're going to give you all of the juicy details of what's going on with the leaks, supposedly the alleged test screening leaks, as well as, of course, the nonsense BS article that was actually turns out to be written by a fan. So we're going to check out this article. We're going to get all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. We just crossed 1,500. We're sailing our way to 1,600, and I really could use your help crossing that line here shortly. So let us know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. Do you believe Snyder out there? Do you believe Jeff Snyder has been right in the past about a lot of things, even though he's been a lot of hit or miss? Do you believe he's a trustworthy source for a lot of these kind of things? Does it surprise you at all that this fan article is most likely completely and totally made up nonsense? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And also, are you excited for the Superman movie? Let us know what you think about that down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from CosmicBook.News and our dear sweet Matt McGloin, Superman test screenings not reliable, open to BS. Dun, dun, dun. We get insights into the recent claims surrounding Superman test screenings, which are said to be unreliable and open to BS. A fan user on Comic Book Movie wrote up a fan article claiming a test screening was held for James Gunn's Superman movie, with the reaction said to be Guardians of the Galaxy level good. The site does use fan editors, but possible bogus rumors seem to have somewhat gotten past them. Anyone can post an article on the site. So, for example, whenever there's an NFL game or such, someone posts pirate links to pirate sites. Well, it seems that the article at Comic Book Movie may have been made up in response to those recent claims from Jeff Snyder that the buzz around the Superman movie is not good and that fans should be worried. So what did Snyder say? Well, that's what we've got over here, right here. Not hearing good things. So Snyder on his podcast out there, and one of the situations where it's one of those things, Snyder has been hit or miss. I do legitimately, Jeff Snyder is used as like a kind of a place to like test things out with the audiences and see how the fans react to things. I do think people have intentionally feed him information just so that way he'll talk about it on his podcast and it'll get reported in the news. People will talk about it just to see whether or not how fans react. And it would not be the first time that we know Hollywood has done this stuff in the past. They have absolutely leaked things just to see how the fan reaction is, to see what people say out there. But this is something that's a little bit different with that. So I do believe Jeff Snyder can be kind of hit or miss. And as always, it is the rumor mill, so take it with a grain of salt. But this is what Snyder said. He said, I went to dinner with a source who knew multiple people who had seen Superman. The buzz is not good. It's not me trying to take the movie down. Maybe I misphrased the VFX things. I'm hearing bad things. I'm hearing you should be worried things. Now, a lot of time between now and July 11th, a lot of things could happen. It sounds like James Gunn is aware of some of the feedback. And this is one of those situations where it kind of went one of the situations where Snyder then referenced a report from the Hollywood Reporter published in their email newsletter on DC saying read between the lines. So it sounds like you might be trying to use this to back up some of his stuff. But it sounds like the Hollywood Reporter is aware of some of the feedback, or they just keeping that amazing buzz that the studio would love to have out there in the Fortress of Solitude. Read between the lines. So this is what the Hollywood Reporter said. We've heard from multiple sources about one screening in particular on the lot and the close-knit crew of people he trusts. We're keeping the buzz about the movie itself in our own Fortress of Solitude, but we can tell you that the movie will be doing a few days of additional shooting in Los Angeles in the near term. So obviously maybe there's a few things. It's not unusual to have pickups, especially if it's just a few days of shooting after you go through all the editing process to actually find redesign some stuff or maybe reshoot some things. That's not really all that unusual. Now, if you have like the Captain Black America movie out there that's coming from Marvel here shortly, where they literally spent the entire summer, they spent 3 months redoing that entire movie, that's something you're worried about. Also, we've heard the leaks and the reports and the rumors from that kind of stuff from all of those test screenings that Disney's been doing. That movie is absolutely bad. We've heard that from multiple sources and multiple reports over the last year or so. This is one of the situations where, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. This is coming strictly from Jeff Snyder. But to give you the absolute truth of what is actually going on over here, and of course to push back the nonsense BS, because I am just reporting on the news here, boys and girls. You can get mad at me either way, whether you feel about it on this kind of thing. But as we can see here now, the comic book movie article turns out to be a complete and total nonsense BS, and we've got the reason why for it right down here. So we get word from viewer Anon on X, who has had some scoops come true, that comic book movies claims are likely BS. Viewer Anon says the real test screening hasn't even been held. It's just a screening done internally at Warner Brothers, which doesn't completely and totally go against what Snyder said, right? But it does go completely and totally against what the comic book movie article actually said out there. So viewer Anon says out here, and of course, Matt's going to be good about checking these people and kind of making sure that they're verified, says any and all Superman test screenings so far, I don't know how many have taken place, have been internal. Even by test screening standards, take any leaks from internal screenings, positive or negative, with a huge grain of salt, which is always fair to do no matter what, on all that kind of stuff. So he also goes on to say, he says, everyone knows test screening reactions are not automatically indicative of quality or wide reaction, but a public test screening can at least be verified internally. Your department on someone at the studio or close to the filmmaker breaks their confidence. And as we all know, DC is Warner Brothers in general is one of the leakiest companies out there. Nothing is ever hidden. We always know about all this kind of stuff. I mean, we just did a video over the Lobo confirmation from James Gunn and him getting Jason Momoa getting cast as Lobo. And it's like, we've literally known about that since the end of the Aquaman movie, boys and girls, that was most likely going to happen. Now it's just been confirmed. So obviously it's one of those situations where, especially if you don't want leaks to come out, I can see why James Gunn wouldn't do a public test screening, because there's absolutely going to be a reaction. And hey, how'd that work out for our dear sweet Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery when they premiered that at Cannes a month before that movie came out? Yeah, that turned into a disastrous dumpster fire. So it's just a lot less verifiable, says viewer Anon. More open to BS. Remember when Batman vs. Superman got a standing ovation from the Warner Brothers execs, or Rando saying, trust me, bro, about a movie they're trying to hype up or kill? And yeah, obviously a lot of people were very upset with the way the Batman vs. Superman movie panned out. Wasn't a big fan of that. I still believe the director's cut is the best edition out there, and I did enjoy the movie, but yeah, it's definitely got a lot of issues out there. Definitely not the best thing ever, and definitely probably did not get a standing ovation from anybody over there at Warner Brothers, especially at the time. Oh man, oh man. So Mark here asked the question, could we expect true test screenings reviews in spring? Viewer Anon says, I doubt it will ever test publicly. The process for DC is too leaky. And so that's basically what it comes down to right there, boys and girls. Jeff Snyder saying it's not looking great from what he's heard out there, but we've also got another article out there posting a bunch of nonsense BS out there trying to counter that stuff out there. And at the end of the day, boys and girls, it's going to be up to the fans to decide, right? Because no matter how many internal test screenings, because we know that like Disney does it with like Friends and Family and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, what matters the most is the audience and the word of mouth for that movie. It doesn't matter how the reviews go. We know that the legacy media's review system is broken and busted as all get out. Nobody trusts the access media anymore. That's why independent media organizations and channels and groups and people out there are growing by leaps and bounds all of the time out there, because we are replacing them. We are the new media now, and that's what we have to do to report on this kind of stuff, to let you guys know what the truth is and try to keep things straightened out and kind of get things figured out where they're actually supposed to be. So at the end of the day, take all of this with a giant grain of salt. And as we've always talked about, and as the audiences have clearly made true, we don't care what the critics think. We never have. The audience's opinion is what matters most. And whether or not Superman will actually end up being good, whether or not James Gunn is actually going to pull this off, and whether all of these rumors and nonsense are complete and total BS, that will be up to the audience to decide. You out there, the fans, are the ones that decide whether things are successful or flop. And at the end of the day, if James Gunn doesn't give us a good quality, hopeful Superman like he has been promising us, I promise you we will all roast him out into oblivion and make sure that movie ends up completely and totally crashing. Because if you don't make the fans happy, they're not going to make you rich. So at the end of the day, James Gunn, I hope you've done a good job. This trailer looks good. The casting is spot on. I want this Superman movie to be good. But if any of these rumors turn out to end up being true, I promise you, boys and girls, we will be one of the first ones out there letting you know that this movie is bad and should be completely and totally avoided. But at the end of the day, as of right now, everything's pointing to it being good. So let's hope that stays true. Let's hope all of these rumors are nonsense BS, people just being overcritical because they're Hollywood psychopaths. And at the end of the day, let's pray that we get a really good quality Superman, boys and girls.